So today we're going to talk about something that has everyone gathering around the digital water cooler. It's pretty much the hottest topic in current streaming films, except for Tiger King, but we're not going to count that because if you're part of the last podcast in the left fandom, then you're already well aware of Joe Exotic. So, no, this is The Platform, a very, very interesting film that has gotten a little bit of contention amongst folks. And I want to specifically talk about the ending. So for this little review, this is more of my thoughts and interpretations on the finale of The Platform. If you don't want to watch that, click off now. If you haven't watched the film, go watch it. It's pretty good. Or if you don't care and you just want them sweet, sweet, delicious spoilers, continue on. Just know that I'm not going to go into everything in great detail. This is a video meant for people who have already watched the movie and just want to hear somebody talk out the ending a little bit. So let's dig in to The Platform. From director's Spanish name I'm not even going to attempt, and originally entitled The Hole, The Platform takes place almost entirely inside a, quote, vertical self-management center, which certain prisoners can opt into, either in exchange for an actual prison sentence or as a means to an end. Our protagonist, Goring, isn't a criminal, instead using the hole as a means to gain an accredited diploma. Once in the hole, prisoners are given a single cellmate, and every day the option of eating whatever they want from a giant floating table that makes its way down through the levels of the hole. However, the table is not replenished between levels, and so those on level 1 get their fill while those on the lowest levels wind up with nothing. And you can't keep anything either, eat it or leave it, otherwise the temperature will rise or decrease until you die.
Para esto crearon este puto hoyo.
The Platform is not a traditional horror film and should not be placed on the same tier as, say, Martyrs. I've seen a handful of reviewers mention that film, and I guess I get the connection, but it's not really the same, especially from an aesthetic standpoint. There's not really much torture in The Platform, and the gore is mostly kept to quick spurts of violence. The Platform is not a subtle film, but despite that, it seems a lot of folks don't quite get it. Oh sure, the concept of criticizing the social classes and how humans react to being given nothing versus everything, and all the shades of gray in between, that's obvious. However, it seems like a lot of folks don't want to look beyond the critiquing of the man, and are just chalking this up as some kind of leftist propaganda. And that's really the furthest thing from the truth. At one point, Goring's cellmate is the official who signed him up for the hole, played by the phenomenal Antonia San Juan. She works for the administration, aka the all-powerful government body these characters are subject to, and she's fallen hook, line, and sinker for their rhetoric on how this experiment is meant to find the best in people. Her belief is that they can get everyone in the hole to cooperate by simply telling the prisoners to ration food, but leaving the choice up to them. This goes poorly.
Lo entiendo, pero somos responsables de aquellos que este mes no han tenido nuestra suerte. Sus raciones poseen las calorías suficientes para sobrevivir.
In the final act of the film, Goring and his latest cellmate make the somewhat obvious choice to ride the table down through the lower levels until they reach the bottom, and only allow food to those who need it, and in proper portions. In the end, they plan to leave a single untouched food item on the table, proving Goring's hypothesis that everyone can work together. Anyway, Goring and his cellmate Baharat go about their plan and fend off all those who dare take more than their fair share. This is a natural extension of Goring's earlier attempts, wherein he threatens to shit on the food if the next level down doesn't properly ration. This is obviously an allegory for a very basic and violent interpretation of socialism. Now, if this was successful, then I would agree that this is mostly just propaganda. But then something happens. Upon reaching level 333, the pair discover a child, a little girl belonging to a crazed murderer inmate, and whom Goring has been assured does not exist, since inmates are strictly 16 and up. He feeds the girl the food that was meant as the message for the workers at the top, something to make them realize that the experiment is complete, that humanity can make it all work if people are given the right directives, even if those directives are forced. Goring quickly realizes that the real message is the girl. She's proof that the system is dirty. If the workers at the top see her, then they can rebel and topple the system, not because some food had come back or that people can be redeemed, but because the administration is participating in something universally vilified, the imprisonment and torture of a child, an innocent. This isn't outright said, but it's pretty easy to deduce if you're paying attention. Anyway, Goring sends the girl up by herself, recognizing via a ghostly vision that the message does not need a bearer. In other words, there's no need for a revolutionary, no need for a Christ figure or anything like that. Just one anonymous guy who wants a diploma acting as Deep Throat and spilling the beans on the cruelty of this operation. But does he succeed? Well, that's up to you. And if a lack of clear answers is going to hurt your enjoyment of the film, then, I don't know, man. Does the top at the end of Inception ever stop spinning? What does Bill Murray whisper into Scarlett Johansson's ear at the end of Lost in Translation? Is Patrick Bateman a serial killer, or is it all in his head? I could go on, but the point remains, a lack of a clear answer is not the absence of an answer. A narrative film is not built to give you every detail, but to pass on a message. Not everything has to have an answer. After all, that's what science teaches us. We may think we have the answer, know what something really means, know how to deal with some ailment, but in the end, we have to be open to reinterpretation, to new rules, to new values. As the director himself noted in an interview with Collider, the film is not a social critique, it is a social self-criticism. While I do question the difference between the two, I get where he's coming from. This isn't about pointing fingers, it's about being able to step back and recognize the problems within the system and how we must all pitch in to make them better. As Goring finds out, there is no straight answer. In basic terms, it's not that capitalism or socialism or whateverism will solve the problem. It's that we need as human beings to recognize there is a problem and that the current system simply isn't working. It is corrupt. Now, will Goring's attempt pay off? Will he succeed in starting the revolution he dreams of? Probably not. That's the part that's really up to you. It's something you have to question. And in questioning it, perhaps you'll be led to question the morals of the system you live in. Or not. As I stated in the beginning of this review, The Platform is not a subtle film. It's basically reverse Snowpiercer, with less action and more philosophizing, and I get how that could be a problem for someone going into this with the expectation of the next Cube or some sort of torture porn. It's not for everyone, but I had a good time. It's full of enough big, quirky ideas, vile actions from morally bankrupted characters, and yes, even some horrific violence, to have kept me enthralled from beginning to end. Your mileage may vary, obviously. 3.5 stars. And that's that. That's my just general interpretation of The Platform. There are other interpretations for the ending. Any kind of vague ending is going to be that way. You could also make an argument that she represents children being our future. There's all kinds of ways you could take it, but this is how I took it, and I feel like it's the most obvious way to take the ending. You don't have to share that opinion. It's really just I'm seeing a lot of reviews saying that the ending doesn't really have a point or it doesn't make sense, and I feel like it makes perfect sense. I don't really see the issue at hand. I understand other problems with the film, certainly, but I don't think that the ending is one of them. Anyway, if you want to check out a movie that's way worse than The Platform, you can watch The Head, currently on Amazon. You can also watch my first film, which is definitely worse than The Platform, Fatal Future. What I'm trying to say is you should go watch a bunch of garbage on Amazon while also lining my pockets with fake gold. And if you want to support me without having to suffer through my art, you're in luck. You can go ahead and start giving me money through Patreon. Now, obviously, we're going through a very, very tough time right now. I'm not asking anyone to give more than their means, nor do I expect anyone would want to. But if you're watching this in the future and there's the world's suddenly great and magical and lovely and we've solved all of our social issues, please drop me some money on Patreon. It's $3 for just general everything that you would want, and then $10 for a little bit extra. And our latest patron on the $10 a month level is Fingers and Toes. I don't know who this person is, but their name is Fingers and Toes, and I'm assuming that's a fetish. So you keep your kink on, Fingers and Toes. Good job with that kink. So until next time, go watch a movie.